Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a very special cook, Gabby, and she's going to cook a very special meal. She's going to show us how to make enchiladas, refried beans, and Spanish rice. So I'm excited, and I hope you are too.
Good evening, Denver South. My name is Gabriela, and I will be talking a little bit about some Mexican dishes. I was born in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, and that's south of California. We're the northern part of of Mexico's peninsula. I will be making three separate dishes. The main dish is enchiladas, and then the side dish is the Spanish rice, I think it's what you guys call it, but we call it just rice. And then the side of beans. You could actually add a salad and things like that. So the first thing I'm gonna make today is the rice because it's the longest to cook. So it'll be cooking while we prepare the other dishes. So the ingredients for the rice is just the actual rice, which is in here, and then oil, and then we need onion and garlic here, and then the tomato sauce, or you could do fresh tomatoes, whatever you prefer. They're just a little expensive. And then salt, or I use chicken seasoning, or you could actually use the chicken seasoning, whatever you prefer. So these are the ingredients. Now come on over so we can start cooking it. We're gonna go ahead and start with our rice, our Spanish rice, and we will turn on the heat to probably medium, just to start heating it up. And then we'll put a little bit of oil, which unfortunately I was taught just to eye it, so I will try to do my best to tell you. I'm thinking it's like 2 tablespoons, like the give or take 2 tablespoons, is just to saute the onion and the garlic first. So I will go ahead and grab my garlic and my onion, and because I'm making just 1 cup, I have a little bit of onion. It's not a lot. It's just to give it flavor, to saute it with the I'm going to turn it up a little bit, just to put a little bit of more onion. So once the heat is up, I will saute the onion and the garlic. Once it heats up, the oil heats up a little bit, the garlic and the onion, you saute it. Just make sure to get the flavor. You don't want to burn it or anything like that. You just want to saute it, brown it just barely. The onion and the garlic, and then that's when you put the rice in. So we're gonna go ahead and put a whole cup of rice is what we're doing this evening. We're pouring the cup of rice and turning up the heat. So now we're just going to saute the rice. And this one, we do want to brown it a little bit. That gives it the color and the flavor as well from the onion and the garlic. So it does take a little bit to brown. You want to make sure that you brown it well. You just don't move it too much because then it breaks as well. So you just kind of wait for it to saute and then brown it from as best you can. See how it's starting to brown there a little bit? That's what the color you want for like your whole rice to kind of look like. A little bit of brown is what you want. It's not going to be completely brown or all of the rice, but most of it, it'll be that way. You'll know it's done when most of the rice is that color. So this is kind of what the rice color should look like. You know you're pretty much done browning it because of the color here. This is what you want your rice to look like. So then you go to the next step. Okay, after you've browned your rice and it's the color you want it to look like, the next step is to add the tomato sauce. Again, if you prefer, you can use the fresh tomatoes. You just put them in a blender and you add it. In Mexico, the tomatoes are really cheap, so people use fresh tomatoes. In our case, we'll go ahead and use this. Because we're only using a cup, I'm only going to put half of this little box here because we are only making a cup. So after that, since we are using a cup of rice, I'm going to use 2 cups of water. Okay. So now you will add the seasonings, which, like I said, you could do I usually use the McKay chicken seasoning. When I was growing up, my mom used Nor Suiza, which is the chicken flavor. The Nor is the company, I guess, that makes it. But today I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. And usually I say to taste, so you can definitely add the salt to taste. Go ahead and see what it tastes like, and then it needs more salt. Before I add a little bit of more salt to it, I am wanting to let you know that it needs to be probably medium-high on your stove because it needs to boil. The rice, with all the ingredients now, it needs to be boiling. Now you've added the salt and the tomato sauce, and you want it to boil. You can choose to take out the onion at this time and the garlic. I don't. I cook it with it. So it's totally up to you, but I know it's your preference. If you want to take out the onion and the garlic, you can do it at this time. Okay, now it's starting to come to a boil. So once it does, you're going to turn the heat down to low and cover it. So you turn it down to low, probably 2.5, 3, and then you cover it, and it pretty much cooks with the steam. And you put your timer for I usually put it for like 14-15 minutes. Our next dish is the enchiladas. And to prep for it, I will be crumbling the queso fresco. Just to let you know, it's a preference if you like to use mozzarella cheese. I know there's a Mexican mix or blend that you can also use. It doesn't really matter. It's your preference, whatever cheese you like. I'm not a cheese person, and queso fresco usually doesn't have a cheesy taste. So this is what I prefer to use, queso fresco. So this is queso fresco. It's very, the texture is kind of like feta cheese. And for me to be able to put it inside the enchiladas, I am having to crumble it so it's easier to put into the enchiladas. You can purchase the queso fresco pretty much anywhere. I get this one from Sam's, and it's a pretty big one because we use the queso fresco often. Once you are done crumbling the queso fresco, you can go ahead and start making your enchiladas. The first thing you'll need is a pan to be able to fry the enchiladas. So I'm gonna come over here and grab a pan. And some tongs. You'll need a pan. A small pan is fine. I do them one at a time, so just you need a pan and you'll need some oil. So let's pour some oil. And it's just to fry the tortilla on both sides. So you warm up the oil, you make sure the oil is warm, so you turn it on to probably medium heat or something, and you get your oil hot. And you can probably figure out when your oil is hot. You'll grab your tortilla, and if you dip it in, it'll start bubbling, but it's not, so it's not warm enough. See how it's bubbling? You know your oil is ready because the tortilla is ready to put in because it's bubbling. Usually I just flip it on both sides. Make sure that both sides are nice and not crispy. You don't want your tortilla, we call those tostadas. We don't want it to be a tostada. It needs to be some kind of soggy. So then you bring it into the chili here, and then I continue to do the next one. I only do 5 at a time in the chili because the tortilla gets pretty soggy and it might break if you leave it for too long in the chili. So you do the next one here, same thing, just on both sides. Make sure that it's, see how it's still kind of, it's not crispy, it's a little wobbly here, and then you bring it to the next. We put the next tortilla in as well, and make sure we get it from both sides. Like I said, you don't want it crispy at all. You just want it, you're just kind of making it so you're able to fold it. So it's still a little soggy here, so we put it into the chili. We'll continue. Like I said, we don't want to put more than 5 tortillas in the chili because they get soggy and they might break, and that we don't want that. So just making sure that the tortilla is getting on both sides, fried on both sides, and then I put it on low. And then I think I have 5 here. That's pretty much it. Okay, once we have the tortillas fried and in the salsa or in the chili, make the actual tortilla roll, put the stuff inside, and then roll it. So now you're ready to put the salsa or the chili on the tortillas, and then you'll be able to start wrapping them. So once you make sure that you marinate your tortilla well with the salsa or the chili, you bring it to the plate where you're gonna put it in. You grab some cheese and you go ahead and put as little or as much as you like, depending on what you'd like to do. And then I like to put onion. You know, in Mexico they make, they put chicken, they put beef or whatever else you'd like. So once your oil is hot enough, you go ahead and you pour in the beans. Less water from the beans will be best. You'll probably use it at the end if they're too dry, but for the most part I just put the beans with less water. Once they come to a boil, then you will mash them just with the masher. I usually grab this here and then just mash them as best you can. I personally like them very well mashed. I don't like any whole beans at all, but to your preference. And right when you're mashing them, you could add a little bit of salt to it, and then continue mashing them until you like the consistency of it. Like I said, I like them really, really well mashed, personally. If they get too dry, you can add the remaining juice from the beans. But this is pretty much all you do, and this is what we call refried beans. Pinto beans. These are pinto beans. I guess that's pretty much all you do. You could probably taste them to make sure that they have enough salt, and you could always add more salt if needed. But for the most part, I don't like them too flavory. Okay, now that we're done with the beans, we'll bring the beans over. This is what the consistency should look like. And then we'll go ahead and check on the rice because it's been 14 minutes. Okay, so this is the consistency of the rice. It should be grainy, not mushy or anything like that. The color is beautiful. You see the red of the tomato, so it's more like an orangey, and that's what the Spanish rice should look like. People sometimes add vegetables to it. You can do that, but I prefer not to. Okay, now we are ready to have our rice with some enchiladas. And some beans. This is what the plate will look like at the end. You have your enchiladas, the main course, the rice and the beans, and as they say in Spanish, provecho. Let's go ahead and close with the word of prayer. Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado sea tu nombre. En esta tarde, Padre Celestial, te damos gracias por la vida, la salud y las ricas bendiciones. Gracias que me dices la oportunidad de poder hacer las enchiladas, el arroz y los frijoles. Que nunca falte tu bendición en los hogares aquí representados. Todo esto te lo pedimos y agradecemos. En Jesús, amén.
Wow, Gabby, thank you so much for sharing that delicious meal. I cannot wait to try it. And so just a reminder to everyone else, we are having a special Vespers capping off the International Week and leading us into International Sabbath Part 2. So join us at 7 o'clock at the drive-in at the parking lot here at the church. I can't wait to see you. Just remember, make sure you register online on our Denver South SDA.org website, and you'll find all the information there on all the regulations and everything that you'll need. And I cannot wait to see you there to worship with you. And we have a special guest speaker, and I think you will enjoy her as well. Have a good night, everybody.